Hi, my name is Rick. Welcome to my channel, if you haven't been here before. Today I'm going to teach you how to play the main riff to Stevie Ray Vaughan's Cold Shot, which is... fantastic riff. I think this is a great one for working on technique if you want to head into the Stevie Ray Vaughan rhythm guitar arena. So it's one of my core songs I teach my personal students, and what I usually find is that if you haven't done this kind of technique before, it's really hard, and especially later on if you want to do, let's say like, so yeah. You know, pride and joy, that kind of stuff. And it's super cool too if you want to do like later on funk, you know, that kind of funk stuff where you need to, yeah, I'll get into the technique, but it translates to other things as well. So yeah, let's get right to it. So you're going to be playing the 7th fret on the D string to the 5th fret of the D string, and basically what I would do first is, there's a few components to this. Let's try to get that going first. We'll add in the, you know, all that cool in-between stuff afterwards. So first, just to get this kind of thing, what you want to do, it's all about the left hand here, is you want to take your 3rd finger and mute out well, here's the goal. You want to mute out 5 of the 6 strings, so you only want to hear this note, and then the rest of the notes will sound like that. So let me go this direction instead. These 2 fingers here, I would say they're going to do the bulk of the work. You're going to put them flat back here like this, so it will deaden out the strings. And then of course this finger here is playing the note. What I was going to say about this finger is that this can also mute out the G string right here. And then, yeah, so. But the main thing is you want to just be able to hit the strings decently hard with your picking hand, and only hear that one note, and this kind of cool percussive sound like that. So, you know, when you first do it, you're probably going to hear some kind of like, you know, that kind of thing. You're going to, you know, not be muting all the strings correctly that you want to mute over here. So what I would do is just keep readjusting these fingers back here. Really, I think theoretically, if you put these here, that should do it, because you're covering all 6 strings. So cover that, get the note here, and then just kind of go for it. And I think a cool thing to do is actually hit it, yeah, decently hard right off the bat, you know, because it's better to learn early on which strings are not sounding good, you know. So if, let's say you just go for it, and you're like oh man, then you go down here, like, okay, oh wow, the B string is not muted correctly, and then you can readjust your hand over here until you get that sound going. So that's the first thing. Actually, that's well, actually the next one's a little harder. I was gonna say that's the bulk of the work, but actually this one here is harder. So now when you go over here, it's the same idea. You're gonna, you know, hear this single note here, the 5th fret on the D, but you have to mute, same idea, all the strings. So here, that your index finger is gonna do more work muting the G, B, E here. Like these should be muted right here. The top part, like the tip of your index finger here, is going to mute the A string. That's a good thing to work on. Like play this single note here, and then hit the A string over here with your picking hand. And if you get that going on the A string, not the D, like the D will sound like that, that'll be a note, but the A string should sound like that, then you're doing a good job with the tip of your index finger on your fretting hand to get that A string. And then your thumb can come up and mute out the low E. Some people's thumbs are big enough, I guess I could probably do it too, where you could mute out the A string, but I don't think you need to, and it's good to learn this technique anyway. So the idea is that if you do this here, that'll mute the G, B, E. If you do the tip of your index finger, that'll mute the A, and if you get your thumb here on the low E, that'll mute the low E. So there you can see, you can hit it again pretty hard. And you're muting all the strings. What you don't want to do, I've actually had a few students do this, it's kind of funny, is that I call it the cheating way, is they go like this, they go. So they don't do it in front of me. They do it. They figure it out when they're at home, and then they come back, and then I have to tell them, well, yeah, you don't really want to do that. I suppose it kind of does work. It's just that it's it doesn't really make sense in the long run, because it's efficiency-wise. The next thing coming up is here. Like, you want your index finger in the 5th fret, your third finger in the 7th fret for the entirety of the riff, basically. So yeah, so I would say do it the real way. So now what you could do is, now you get the techniques started. You're working on that. Try just playing those 2 notes back and forth, going. So if you can do that, that's the main thing you need to learn for this. Yeah, so work on that, and then we're going to throw in that kind of thing. It's pretty interesting. It's like, I would say it's mostly open notes, like that kind of sound. So if you broke it down really slow, which sounds kind of funny, but it'd be like. But I think it's not entirely that. I think your hand is still touching the strings a little bit when you do this thing. But what it's not. So it's not that. That's too muted. But I think all the open strings is closer to it. But I think it's a little bit of a combination. Like, it's like you can hear that, and you can hear the muted strings. That's kind of interesting. I haven't really looked in any tab books lately to see how that was written, but I think, in my opinion, that would be the ideal way to write it, is that it's a combination of those things. Because again, if you just do all open strings, I think it's just too much, and if you do all muted, it doesn't sound right. So, but then I would do is practice that slowly, kind of articulately, going like this, like. Just get that going. And then the only thing left to add is this. So you'll take your 3rd finger, bar the 7th fret, G, B, high E strings, and then same idea but in the 5th fret, index finger on the G, B, E. So where that falls in the riff, so you're going to go down, up on that. Now he plays it 2 different ways. I think it's the first 2 times he goes. So you're going right when you go to here. This we'll call it this chord here. Right after you go, after you hit that, down, up, then you go right back to the beginning. So that's the first 2 times. So I'll just play that how it should be on the recording is. Now it goes. So then he changes it on the 3rd time, I believe. There's also a pickup note thing I'll tell you about in a second, but let's get this part going here. So that's basically the main riff. And then just the slight alteration is that you go. And then what you do is you hang on this one for the same amount of time that would be if you were going to grab this next note here, but you don't go back to the beginning. You go to the 5th fret on the D string. So think of it as like you're holding this a little bit longer, which means you've already, interrupted the time that you would have played this note. So you have to go to here now. So I'll play it kind of slow, that second, the variation. So it's. And when you come in on it, you're going to do one of those things up and then down on this note, the 5th fret on the D string. So let me do that again. This is maybe a little bit, it could be confusing. So does that make sense? Hopefully. Wish I could ask you if it made sense. I'm used to teaching personal students all the time, asking them questions continually. Yeah, so that's the variation. I like to add vibrato in it. I think when I've seen some people play it, they don't. I'll have to listen again and see if Stevie does, but I think it sounds cool. Probably either way, so you could go. yeah, so that's that riff, and really if you get that riff down, you're pretty much in the clear for the song, because then later on he goes up to the 10th position, 10 and 12 here for the D, and does kind of the same, or actually probably exactly the same thing, yeah. And then there's like a Hendrix chord in there later. So yeah, let's see. On this one, I think the only thing I would add now is that there's a kind of a cool thing to learn if you don't know about this, called pickup notes. Stevie actually starts on the, what is it, that and 4 and before beat 1 comes in on that. Like that's actually beat 1, but he does up, down, up, and 4 and 1. So and 4 and 1. So yeah, that's good to learn about that in more detail. Quarter notes, eighth notes, how that works if you haven't. Otherwise, you know, it is guitar players mostly play by ear, and I think I played this for years and played it in bar bands. Didn't hardly think about that. I guess I knew about it, but I didn't think super hard about it. So that's the riff. Yeah, I think it's just mainly about really muting well with your left hand. And just going for it over here. Have a Red Hot Chili Pepper song in my head. How'd that go? Anyway, but yeah, it's a technique you can use later on for like funk stuff. It's pretty cool. Just, you know, getting that single note with all the muted notes behind it. So, but I don't want to keep going on and on about that. When your main mission is just to get the Stevie down. So yeah, have fun with it, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.